Hi, today I want to talk to you about debunking stuff. Now I've seen several videos online, especially on YouTube, where they take one of these free energy permanent magnet DC motors to power things. Now, can it be done? Yes. Is it a good idea? No. Now I'm going to explain to you why. To get one of these to spin fast enough to produce any usable power, you're going to look at Hurricane 4 scale winds. Seriously. It takes a lot of spinning to get this thing up to par. Now, I've seen several people use battery operated drills to power something like this to spin it to see what it does. And they say, oh yeah, this is great, blah, 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 this, that. Now, this is a free energy 1224 DC permanent magnet motor. It can be used as a DC generator. Now I have some wire nuts here holding on my cables to my voltometer. It is set for 20 volts. Now this says it can go up to 24 volts. To kick this to 24 volts, I have no clue how fast this would have to spin. Because I'm going to show you exactly how fast it would need to spin to produce 12 volts. Now, this is the motor off my bike generator. Did it produce power? Yes. Did I have to pedal my ass off to get it to produce usable power? Absolutely. You cannot get power out of this unless you put something into it. Whether it be on a windmill, the wind has to be blowing at a certain speed to have a usable voltage. Whether it's using some type of drill, you have to spin it fast enough to use or get a usable voltage. Now, I'm just going to turn this with my hand like this right here. I have a little sprocket on here that I had from my bike generator. Now, I did remove this from the bike generator. I do have a 12 volt car alternator. If you're going to build any type of DIY system, my advice, instead of buying one of these, get yourself a low RPM, high output alternator and connect it to a 12 volt battery such as a dual cycle marine battery, because even if this isn't spinning, you can use the power out of that battery and use this to charge the battery if that's what you're going to do. Like I said, I'm fixing to debunk some stuff here. Now, I've seen people use drills like this. Now, this is only a 12 volt. So it doesn't spin super fast, but it spins fast enough. But first, let's get a reading. Just me spinning it by hand. So I believe I saw 2.85. So that's almost 3 volts spinning this just by hand, just spinning it. This has a fully charged battery. Let's see what it does. Now I do have it connected to my portable DVD player. Now I do have, excuse me, also have my Black & Decker drill here. It is corded, it is plugged in. Yeah, I know my bed's not made. I don't care. I do have a bunch of these. Now most new stuff will not use anything like this. Most new plugs are something like micro USB, USB-C, things like that. If your thing has an old plug like this, then that's really old. And unfortunately, I don't have a single one of these plugs big enough to fit on either one of the laptops, but I do have one that will fit on the portable DVD player. I have seen people on YouTube use a portable drill and say it produces enough power to be usable. Is that true? I'm fixing to show you whether it is or isn't. Now, there's a light up in there that will come on if it starts charging or if it's charged. Okay, so we know that's debunked. You're not going to use one of these to get that to spin fast enough to actually do any good. Now, if you have a 6-volt battery, such as a golf cart battery, possibly, then you could possibly use this to put some power back into that battery using a 12-volt drill. If it is a 12-volt battery, it's not going to work for you. And the thing is, if you're using a 12-volt battery and you need just a little bit extra power, this is 12-volt. Positive, negative, positive, negative. So if you just need a small little bit of power, you can hook up to these prongs right here and get 12 volts. Now, let's connect this to the corded drill. This is plugged in down there. Now this will spin it much faster than any cordless drill. Will I get usable power out of this? I believe I will. The reason being is this is a much heavier, much bigger. It also spins much faster. But if you're using a corded drill to power a DC motor, to put power into something that charges through DC, that's a waste of power. Complete waste of power. You're using power to replace power. Did you see the light on up in there? So that was charging off of this. Once again, limitations of free energy. My socket's stuck. Oh well. Come on. There we go. Once again, this is the limitations of free energy. If you're trying to use free energy devices, such as this, can you do it? Yes. But the speed this has to turn at to get any usable power is a lot of speed. So when I see people on YouTube using a small drill or a cordless drill that doesn't spin nearly as fast as one that has a cord, a much bigger drill. Let's, even with the battery pack on this thing, let's compare these two drills here. Much bigger, much heavier, spins much faster, but it uses a lot of power. If you're wanting to build something like this, that's fine. This came off my bike generator. Now I did take it off because I do have a car alternator to put on it that I will connect to a battery. But remember, the speed these things have to go is so fast that if it's connected to some type of bike generator, you're going to pedal your ass off to get any type of usable power. So if this takes 3 hours, figure 3 hours to charge to where you can use it, right? That's 3 hours of pedaling that bike fast enough to get this to spin fast enough to produce enough power to charge the battery in this. That's not with it on, that's with it off. So once again, this is more like a debunking video. I've talked about limitations of solar, and they use a lot of motors like this for wind turbines. Anytime you purchase a wind turbine or a DC motor, know the limitations of it. If you're going to build any type of DIY system for charging stuff at home or for powering stuff at home, do not buy one of these. Can you use one? Yes, they are fairly cheap, but you would have to spin this at such a high rate of speed that if you're on a bike you're going to be collapsed before your battery's charged. If you want to build a DIY setup for a bike generator or any type of generator, get a low RPM alternator connected to a 12-volt battery, and then you connect that up to your system. Think about that. This was spinning as high as this. I had this going on this. This is basically how fast you're going to be pedaling, unless you're just struggling and really working at it. 5 volts is not enough to charge a 12-volt battery. It's not going to happen. Lithium-ion batteries, you're definitely not going to charge it off 5 volts. If you have a lead-acid battery, dual-cycle marine battery, it may put a little bit of power in there, but it will not charge that fully. There's no way. At 12 volts, how fast that spun to get 12 volts out of this, I don't see how this is getting 24 volts ever. Even though it says 1224, I don't see how you could get 24 volts out of this. I mean, off of my corded drill, as fast as I had it going, it didn't even hit 12 volts. I think it hit 11.79 or something like that. Once again, can you use something like this for charging or running small things or whatever? Yes. But there are limitations. Know the limitations. That's why I say if you're going to build something to connect to a bike generator or even something that you can turn by hand, think about how fast you would have to turn this by hand. You would have to have a giant wheel connected to this with some type of handle where you could turn it. I mean, probably a 10-speed wheel connected to the sprocket here or to the shaft. And you would have to make it to where you turn that wheel and it would turn this shaft. It would literally have to be the size of a 10-speed or one of those 24-inch tires with some type of handle sticking out that you could grab and turn it like this. Let me see if I can, like this. To get this thing to spin hopefully at a decent speed where you can get any power out of it. Like I said, this is a debunking video. I've seen videos where they've used stuff like this on small cordless drills. Hey, great, it produces a lot of power, blah, blah, blah. They're lying to you. It doesn't work that way. To get power out, you have to put something into it. Whether it be a higher wind speed, a high enough wind speed, connected to a, right here they're showing wind generators, windmills, a drill, a very high-end drill. Now, like I said, I have a 12-volt drill. A lot of people do. If you have a higher voltage drill, like 20 volts or 18, whatever, or even higher, could have possibly spun this fast enough to produce 12 volts and maintain it for a while. Yeah. But you're using the power out of your batteries on your drill to produce 12 volts. And if you need someone to charge DC power only and your AC power is still working, yes, a large drill will work. I have an adapter here that is 3/8, I believe, quarter inch. It's quarter inch to 3/8, and it has a 1/2 inch socket that will fit on here. Let's do this one more time. Get in there. See that? Watch this. I'm just turning the drill back and forth. Ready? Sorry, it came off. Get on there. really do need to show you how fast this is spinning. I apologize for the noise. You know what? Let's see if I can get this marked on one right here. I really should have done this before I did this test. I hope you can see that. Ready? That was going so fast, you could not see that mark. You could not see it. That's how fast you have to have this thing spinning to get any type of usable power. Think about that. Think about how fast you would have to pedal a bike to get this thing spinning that fast. Think about how fast you would have to have your wind turbine going to spin that fast where you could not see that mark to produce not 12 volt, but close to 12 volt power. Will it charge stuff like this? Yes, if you get it spinning fast enough, it will. But a better option is to get a 12 volt marine cycle battery, dual cycle battery, connected to a car alternator, spin the alternator, whether it's on a wind turbine, whether you're doing it by hand, on a bike generator, something. Because what you're doing is you're drawing the power out of your battery and you're using your alternator just to charge the battery back up. Now, can you do that same thing with this? Yes, but this has major limitations when it comes to power output. You saw it. Alright, I'm going to make this a pretty quick video. Once again, free energy, there's no such thing. It takes some type of force to spin this. Whether it's wind, whether it's electrical energy, whether it's human power, it takes something to spin this fast enough to produce any type of rated power. Now, I've seen people use these on YouTube to power small LED lights. I mean, shit, if that's all you want to do, then just get a solar light and you ain't got to buy one of these. Because it'd be much cheaper than buying this. For the price of this, I could buy 3 solar lights. Like these. Two to 3, depends on how much these are now. Does it work with the bike generator? Yes, but here's the thing. If you hook this to a battery, it will spin backwards or forward. It will spin. The battery will power the motor. Unless you have some type of relay between this and the battery, that will only let the power go one direction. A solar charger controller. There's small relays that only let power go one way. You have to have something extra to keep your battery from just turning this into a motor. That's something else I rarely see on these videos where people are using these, is you have to have some way to stop that battery from feeding into this, because this will spin both directions. I'm going this way, backwards. Now it's using power. According to this, it would use power. Now forward. If I hook this to a battery, either way, this would spin. So you would just be using your battery power to spin it. Once again, debunking. I'm not trying to debunk. If you want one of these for experiments, if you want one of these for a bike generator, fine, so be it. I would not use a sprocket type here unless you have to, but the shaft is so small that it's hard to find any other thing to fit here. I would use some type of belt system. That way you could put it around the entire rim of the back wheel instead of just on the chain itself. That way this would spin much, much faster when you're riding the bike. And keep the bike rear wheel up off the ground on a bike trainer. If this had some type of belt system that would work on a belt, I could put the belt on here and around the rear wheel with the tie off, and it would produce much more power than just trying to use the chain. Alright, I'm fixing to go. I apologize, this is a long video. Once again, to get any type of usable power out of something like this, it has to spin so fast that it's not likely you're going to get much power out of it at all. Unless you're pedaling your ass off on a bike, you have very large blades for a wind turbine, and the wind is blowing at a really good speed. And if you're using a portable drill, it has to be much stronger and much faster than a 12 volt, which are still using the power out of your batteries. Or you have to have a drill that plugs in. I hate debunking videos, but there's no such thing as free energy when it comes to stuff like this. It takes some type of force, some type of power, some type of wind, something to spin this fast enough to produce usable power. Unless you're trying to light nothing but a couple small LED light bulbs. If you're trying to charge something like this or a laptop, charge your phone, it's not going to work unless you produce enough power to be able to do that. Now, if I spun this fast enough with my corded drill, I could hook up my DC-DC power inverter, my small one, and possibly charge a few things that way or power a few things that way. But remember, once you hook this up to any type of battery, you have to have it to where it stops the current from backflowing. If not, it's just going to spin the motor. Alright, I'm fixing to go. If you decide you want to build something like this, you're more than welcome to buy one of these. If you want to experiment with it, see what you can build with it, great, fine. If you want to build some type of wind turbine, fine. Just remember the shaft is pretty small. There's not much room between the end of the shaft and the generator itself or motor itself. And even with my corded drill, it did not hit 12 volts. Alright, I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good day. And once again, if you want to buy one, fine, whatever. That's on you. Does it work? Yes. But if you're planning on a bike generator, the car alternator, the low RPM car alternators are the way to go. They will produce more power, more energy, and you don't have to pedal your ass off like you would on this. Okay, that's it. Everyone have a good day. Bye.